they let us in to see him. We like turned the corner and like his bed, they pulled the curtain, his bed is there. And my mom, my brother immediately like rushed to his side and like they started reassuring him like everything's gonna be okay, you're strong, you're gonna make it through and everything. And I couldn't. I like just saw him there and I fell to the floor and I just started crying. And I think that was the first time like in the entire thing, like when I realized like what had actually happened. Hi, my name is Laura Lithgow. I'm 23 years old and I am from Union City, New Jersey. First question, we're pouring already.
Okay. Describe your upbringing with your siblings.
Okay, so I was born in the Dominican Republic. I came to the United States when I was 5 years old. The reason why I came to this country was because my father was abusive, like physically, towards my mom, and they got separated, but it got to a point where he was essentially stalking her, and it got to a point where she was just like, I need to leave the country or he might kill me. And at that point in time, me and my mom were the only ones with visa, so we had to leave my brothers behind. And then we came to this country in 2001. I was 5 years old, and we left behind my two brothers who were 9 and 13. When my brothers first came to the US like permanently, it was kind of weird actually, because like they were my brothers, but I never like really grew up with them. Like I was 5, I don't remember like too much from that time period. So it was like weird like having brothers who are family, but at first they kind of felt like friends and like they were just living with me and I was playing with them. But we had a lot of fun together. We would always like play, Dance Revolution, and like annoy the neighbors with like all the stomping on the floors. And because me and my middle brother Kobe, we were very close in age, so we kind of ended up being in school and like in high school at the same time. So we ended up like getting really close. We had a lot of like mutual friends and things like that. Like my friends became his friends and like his friends became my friends. Kobe is my middle brother. He was 21 years old when he passed away. He was a very fun person. He was a Gemini, very true Gemini. So he had like his fun side that was like literally like the life of the party. Everybody loved him. Everybody wanted to be his friend. Like he was just literally like a fun living person. Everybody always wanted to be around him. Like he just created like that energy. And he loved basketball. It was his favorite sport. They said like he played like Kobe Bryant, so that's why they nicknamed him that. And LeBron was his favorite player. Great. So March 23rd of 2014, it was a Sunday. It was 2 days before my 18th birthday. My mom at the time, she had a boyfriend and she was like spending the weekend with him. He lived in Brooklyn, so she wasn't home. She like called my brother and was debating like on whether to go to dinner that night for my birthday or if we should do it like on my actual birthday, which is Tuesday. So it was decided that we would do it that day. So they came to pick us up. We got into the car and we were like deciding like what restaurant to go to, and I really wanted to go to Red Lobster, but my mom's boyfriend at the time, like he wanted to go to some Spanish restaurant in Bayonne, and I didn't want to be rude, so I was like, all right, like whatever, like let's go to that restaurant. So my older brother Caesar was supposed to meet us there, and So we went to the restaurant and, you know, we like ordered a whole bunch of food. Like my mom's boyfriend had gotten us like a bottle of Moet, and he got me flowers and like a cake and like all that stuff. Like he was always really, really nice. And like to do like nice things for like our birthdays and stuff. So like he kind of went a little bit all out, and you know, we had a fun night in the restaurant. Like it was like at that point in time where that like girl made that music video, was like, but first let me take a selfie. So we were like joking around about that the whole night. And then like towards the end of the night, it was like right around time to leave. My brother Caesar still hadn't made it, and we were debating like, you know, do we leave, do we wait for him? And I remember Kobe saying, you know what, Mom, like let's just leave, because if he was gonna come, like he'd already be here. So we had the waiter kind of like pack up all the leftover food, which there was actually quite a bit. Like we ordered so much fucking food. So we carried it out of the restaurant, he was carrying it, and we're getting in the car. It was my mom's boyfriend in the driver's seat, my mom in the passenger seat in the front. I was in the passenger seat behind my mom, like on the sidewalk side, and then my brother was on the street side behind the driver's seat. So as we're getting in the car, I was already in the car, I had closed my door, I hear a screech and then like the impact of like a car hitting our car. My first reaction, I kind of just was like, oh, like we got hit. And then I heard my mom scream my brother's name. She was like, Heriberto! And I was like, oh shit, like he was on the other side. And it never occurred to me in that moment like to look like that way, like next to me. I literally just like got out of the car and like went around the back, and like he was laying there on the floor, like literally blood everywhere. Like all the glass from the door was like broken and shattered, like even all the plastic, like just basically the entire door was shattered. His clothes were like all ripped up, his legs were like, I don't even know like how to explain the precision, but I could tell like they were broken. He was bleeding from his ears, and he had a huge pool of blood behind his head. And like he was unconscious, or he looked unconscious. So at this point, like it's kind of a blur, because there's just so much going on. Like at this point, like I'm trying to call 911. My mom is like screaming on the floor next to my brother, like trying not to touch him, but like she wanted to. And she's essentially like having like a panic attack meanwhile. So then I called 911. I called my older brother Caesar, who wasn't there at the time, and he didn't answer. So I called like 3 times, no answer. At this point, like the ambulance is there, like they were very, very fast. Like so the ambulance is there, like police is there, like there's a whole bunch of people like in the street. Like I look up, and I just see the guy like across the street in the car. He has like this look of shock kind of like in his face. It was like this little red car. So my brother calls back, and I answer, and I just tell him like, I don't even remember exactly what I told him. I just basically said like, Kobe got hit by a car, like we got into a car accident, something like that. Like there's like an accident happened. And I guess I was so hysterical that he thought I was my mom, because I'm always like the calm person, and my mom's like the like crazy hysterical person. So he literally was like, Laura, he was like, Mom, put Laura on the phone. And I was like, it is Laura. And he was like, oh, okay. He's like, tell me what hospital, like I'm on my way. So at that time, like we didn't really know what hospital, but as soon as we knew, like I texted it to him. So at this point, I believe the paramedics had said like they felt a heartbeat, so like we knew he was alive, he wasn't dead yet. So they took him in the ambulance. Nobody could come with him because like his care that he needed was so like extensive that nobody could go in the ambulance with him. So the police drove us, me, my mom, and her boyfriend, to the hospital. And my mom's boyfriend's car basically stayed at the scene because the impact was so harsh, like it was a total loss, and it was actually like difficult for him to like get out of the car because the passenger door, like was like bent in such a way that it was blocking him from being able to open the door. So we drive to the hospital in the police car, in the back of the police car. We get there. At first we're kind of just sitting there waiting. My mom's hysterical. I guess my brother had called my aunt and my cousin, so like they had called and said like they were on their way. I happened to tweet like, God, please let everything be okay, something along those lines. So my brother's best friend, Vidal, texts me. He's like, what happened? And I tell him about the accident, like, you know, Kobe just got hit by a car. So he, at that point, basically like all his friends like just head over to the hospital. So time is passing by. At this point, like it's me, my mom, my aunt, my brother's there, Caesar, my mom's boyfriend, Vida, Jason, Maudi, Jason's mom, and I think Fern hadn't gotten there yet. But the last couple people that I just mentioned, they're my brother's friends. So at the time when they came to give us like any news on him, like all of these people were already there. So they come and they tell us that like his injuries are very extensive, like his brain is swollen, and there's a good probability that he has permanent brain damage and maybe like completely brain dead. And I just remember thinking in that moment, like, he might as well be dead. My brother was a very active person. Like he literally, like, he was always doing something. He was always playing sports. He was always playing basketball. He was out, like, with his friends, like, having fun. Like, I just could not picture him in that way. So, like, that to me was, like, mind-blowing. So they allowed us to go see him. And we got, they gave us, like, all his stuff in a bag. Like, his clothes were, like, all cut up. It had, like, his phone, his wallet, and all his stuff. Actually, I had his phone. I don't know how I had his phone, but I had his phone. So they let us in to see him. We like turned the corner, and like his bed, they pulled the curtain, his bed is there. And my mom, my brother immediately like rushed to his side, and like they started reassuring him, like, everything's gonna be okay, you're strong, you're gonna make it through and everything. And I couldn't. I like just saw him there, and I fell to the floor, and I just started crying. And I think that was the first time, like, in the entire thing, like, when I realized like what had actually happened. And he, like, the bed sheets, everything was bloody. He had casts in like both of his arms, like half a leg, like one full leg. He had like bandages like wrapped all around his head, and I couldn't get near him. So I just like was on the floor like crying. And when I finally could get up, I went to his side, and I just kind of like took everything that was going on. And like I said, my mom's there, and my brother, like, they're both reassuring him, like, and my brother was just telling him, like, I'm here, like, your brother's here, like, don't worry about it, like, I'm here. So at one point, like, a nurse comes in. This is all, by the way, like 5 minutes, maybe 10. A nurse comes in, and she is like looking at his monitors. Like, she looks at us, like goes back out and then comes back in and asks us to leave. really quick. Not like to leave like rudely, but just like, you know, like, can you guys just step out, like whatever. And I at that point like knew something was going on, so I just thought about my mom, and I didn't want her to like see whatever was going on. So I was like, okay, like come on, like let's leave, let's go. So we went back to the waiting room, and we were sitting there waiting, and about 5 minutes later the nurse comes in and he tells us that he passed, that his heart stopped. And at that point, essentially like chaos broke loose in that like family room. Like my mom like literally instantly like burst into tears. Like my aunt, literally everyone's in the room crying. I'm still kind of just like shocked. Like I wasn't like processing like what had just been said to me. And my brother Caesar, he like just grabbed me and like pushed me against the wall, and he was crying. He was like banging on the wall, and he's like, my brother, like I don't even remember what else he was saying, but he was just like crying and like banging on the wall. He was angry. He was just like screaming like, my brother, like I can't believe this. I'm not exactly sure like who told the guys, aka his friends, like the news, because they were outside of the room. But like after a few minutes I went outside and they were already crying, and Jason just was like sitting on the floor like with his face in his hands. And then I went up to Vidal, and Vidal just like hugged me. He was crying and he was like, my brother, like, you know I love him, you know that's my brother. And like that literally, like that moment like broke my heart, because they were like Vidal is like my brother, like he still is to this day. And like I feel like in those moments I wasn't so much feeling what I was feeling, it was more like empathy towards what everyone else was feeling, because I feel like I was just in so much shock about like my own emotions. So I just was like empathetic. I feel like I was crying for other people and not necessarily like grieving my own pain. This happened in March. Just to set a little timeline, my brother passed away March 24th. March 6th or so, around there, like the first week of March, I had went to Kent State University to visit, and I decided that was the school I was going to go to. So like a few days later, around the 14th, 15th, I had officially enrolled and committed to that school. And about like a week and a half later, my brother dies. And then 3 months after that, I have to graduate high school. So I just basically like was like, all right, like I gotta graduate. Like I have to go to school. I have a part-time job, and I just took 2 weeks off. Like that's it. So basically like went through all the motions up until graduation. Like not like nothing happened, I'm not gonna say, because it wasn't like that, but it was definitely like me just pushing through all of it and like pushing down like a lot of these emotions that would come up. And it was really hard, like pretty much the entire time. Like honestly, like it wasn't easy if I wasn't dealing like with my own emotions that I felt like I couldn't express, because like I lost my brother, but my mom lost her son. So like how do I talk to my mom about my grief when she lost her son, you know? And it's also not easy to open up about like those deep dark feelings. Like I feel like that's just like looked down upon. There's like a stigma around it, and I feel like also you yourself, like you start to feel a lot of shame for how you feel, and that keeps you isolated from people. So it was a lot of that, and like not wanting to like bring my sadness, I guess, to other people. So I was just, like I said, like pushing through everything. I would try to like go out with my friends to kind of get my mind off things. I would try to like never cry in front of my mom. Like if my mom needed me to be there, like I would be there for her. Like my mom at that time, like she was a hot mess, like just destroyed. And like, I mean, I don't blame her, she lost her son, but like she just needed me to physically be there a lot of the time. And like I was pushing down so many emotions and also just trying to like move forward, and I just like I couldn't emotionally like carry everything that I was carrying. So I didn't want to be there all the time. I wanted to be out with my friends. I wanted to like not even be in the house. And like my mom needed me to physically be there, and like I couldn't do it. And my brother was like, he was just non-existent essentially. Like he was never there. And so all of this weight just fell on me to like kind of hold everything together. And like there was one point where my mom essentially expressed to me, not in these words, but like this was like, she said it in like a code essentially, like where I had to like read between the lines, but as soon as she said it, I knew what she meant. And she just said like, I'm still here for you and your brother, which just let me know like she wanted to die. And when she said that to me in that moment, I just kind of like it hit me, but I like held it together. And then like a few minutes later, I like went to the bathroom and cried. And it was just so much. And I made the decision to still go to school in Ohio, partly because I was like, I just need to not be here in this space. Like I need to get away. Like I can't physically be here and do this anymore. But like obviously like shit, now I have to face my own feelings and emotions. Like I just escaped my mom's and whatever like was going on in that house. So like now I have to do my own shit. So I did seek help before I left for school to like go to a therapist, but she was like not helpful at all. She like focused on like me leaving for school and like me and my mom being separated, which to me I was like, listen, like I lost my brother, like that don't mean shit. Like me leaving my mom, like yeah, whatever, like maybe like if I hadn't lost my brother that would be a big deal, but like I lost my brother, and like I haven't opened up or like really talked to anybody about that. Like that's what I want to talk about, but like that just was not what she focused on. So I just felt like that was a waste of my time for the most part. And then like I said, like first semester was really hard. Aside from what I was feeling and like all of that, like feeling closed off, I'm literally in a new state. I don't know a single fucking soul, and I just went through like the most tragic thing in my life. And I don't want to really talk to people. I don't really want to make friends. I don't really want to let anyone in. And in all honesty, like at that point in time, like I didn't feel like myself. Like I wasn't myself. You know, I was grieving, and I was in a very deep, dark place in my thoughts, and like everything that was going on inside me was dark. And it's not really like a welcoming place for new friends. At first I was angry, and then like through much processing, I just came to realize like I still wonder why my brother had to die. Like I understand that it was his time, and I understand a lot of different things, and I feel like I've come to terms and accepted those things, but I still haven't found like a good reason. Like okay, like I understand that had to happen for this, or like whatever. So through a lot of conversations with people, like I just came to realize like that's something that I need to be able to fully let go of it, and I would say like fully overcome it, but I'm not there yet. In that time, whatever it is that I need to know to understand, that hasn't come yet. And aside from that, like there is still like I still do hold a lot of resentment towards my mom, my brother, for essentially like putting all that responsibility on me when he passed. So I just like I still have, that's something that we still haven't worked through, and that's like we try to be closer as a family, but like we're not, because we haven't sat down and really talked about like this is how like his death has affected us. And like it's crazy, like it's been 5 years and we've never done that. Like, and I'm just like there's a lot of feelings still there. So it's kind of funny. It's like every time I feel like all right, like made it over. It's like, well, here's this new thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, great.
So what happened to your brother's killer?
So, I'm not sure the exact time frame. I want to say it was like around November 2015. Like he was sentenced to 5 years. Which is actually crazy because he was almost double the legal blood alcohol content level, and literally for like something like that, like killing somebody while like intoxicated, it's a minimum of 5 years, like 5 to 15 years. So the fact that he got the minimum, like that was bewildering to me given the circumstances. And yeah.
Have you forgiven him?
So I don't, it's kind of weird because I don't think I've ever like placed my anger, like I don't have necessarily like emotions towards him. I feel like other people are angry, and like obviously like he is the reason why he's not here, but like I've never even given him like that much thought and like let myself like develop anger towards him. I think the only time that I really felt angry towards him was like while they were building the case against him, and they asked like me and my mom like, how does your family like feel about this tragedy? We had to like write a letter about it, and that was like that day I was angry. Like I was so aggravated, and I think I don't even know what to think. I just have like I guess I try to like not think about, or like maybe like just like my feelings and emotions are so consumed by like everything else going on emotionally in regards to this that like I don't even like, he's like a non-factor. I feel like overall I feel like you don't realize what somebody is going through until like you're there and you're going through it. And like I feel like I didn't understand depression and anxiety and like other mental health issues that people struggle with until like I went through it. And I also didn't realize like how many people also like struggle with these things. And when I first started like sharing, like I said, like that first time like sharing with my friend on the phone, and like pretty much after that I feel like it kind of started like a little bit of a domino effect for me. And I decided, because it's not like okay like now I'm gonna just tell everybody all my like deep dark thoughts and all the crazy shit I've been through and like emotionally, mentally, but like I feel like it's a decision that you make to like start sharing, you know, your experience with other people. And like once you make that decision, like you come to realize like, oh shit, like people have been through similar or worse shit than me, or like it honestly doesn't even matter like the gravity of the situation. It's just the fact that like whatever you went through, no matter how different like your situation was, like we're still having a lot of the same emotions, like we still have a lot of the same issues, and we still like we can relate. And it just, I feel like actually talking about my experience let other people open up to me about their experience, and like has brought me closer to a lot more people. But also I feel like through that like I've actually learned more about myself and reflected more on like what I need to work on, what like hurdles I still have to overcome, like, and but I feel like it's also allowed other people to come to me, like feel like they have somebody to come to, like if they need to like vent or whatever. And like that I can appreciate, because like I have been in that space and I know what that feels like. So yeah, that's what it is.
airplane mode on again. Alright. Any coughs, sneezes, let it out now.